The shale gas revolution in the U.S. is a transformative event for global energy markets. For the U.S. economy, it's providing some very welcome short-term economic relief at a point where we're struggling to recover from the financial crisis. But the long-term economic implications shouldn't be overstated. The risk is that the current perception among U.S. policymakers is that the shale revolution has solved our long-term economic problems. And why that's a risk is that there are actually very important structural reforms that need to be made in the U.S. to drive future U.S. economic growth, from tax policy to education policy. And I'm concerned that the shale boom takes some of the pressure off of those other very important economic reform agenda items. Shale is not limited to the U.S. The resource exists in other parts of the world, and it exists in Europe. But having the resource is only part of the equation. You have to have a market structure and a regulatory environment that allows for the type of production growth we've seen in the U.S. And there are very few other parts of the world right now where that market structure and regulatory environment exists. So the shale boom is good news for the European economy. First, the addition of 3-4 million barrels a day of U.S. oil production over the past 5 years has helped stave off a spike in global oil prices that would have pushed the U.S. and the European economies into a double-dip recession. The increase in U.S. natural gas exports over the next few years will increase European negotiating leverage with the Russians and with other LNG suppliers elsewhere in the world. And an increase in U.S. economic output and domestic U.S. demand for European products has an economic benefit for Europe as well.